What's going on, guys? Welcome to another live stream session with your boy Phrankleen. If you're watching this as a playback, thank you for doing so. All right. If you like what I'm about, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to hit the like button. If you like what I'm about, don't forget to smash the subscribe button. Sorry, I'm trying to get the live stream session thing going on my phone here. Alrighty. Welcome to story time. Phrankleen screaming your name from California. Come online. I'm online now, man. Okpayemi Bolujoko. What's going on, people? It's Friday now, man. What's up? So, if you can hear me, you can see me, hit the like. Audrey, about Calvary greetings, man. Yo, so welcome to Story Time. Story Time, if you're watching this as a playback or for the first time, this is the segment where people send me their stories to foodchannel1960@gmail.com. Sometimes I get emails from people, what type of stories? Well, I'm pretty eclectic in terms of stories. Basically, it could be a personal experience, it could be someone. And sometimes, if it's something you've spotted online, let me just say this. If it's a trending topic, if it's a tweet that's a bit controversial that you think it might be worth discussing, send them my way. Follow me on Twitter at Phrankleen, Instagram at Phrankleen, all right? You send me a DM or something, you get what I'm saying? So if it's an important topic that I can dive into, that at least one person can learn something from, inclusive of myself, would have done an amazing job, all right? So anyways, today's story, these lady that watches my channel, basically, what's up, Gil? What's up, everybody? Sent me the story and said, Phrankleen, I'd like for you to please, share my story with your viewers. So hence why we are here. Now, this woman has been married to this gentleman for quite some time, for some years. They have 3 wonderful children. They live here in the UK. So the usual stuff, nothing particularly jaw-dropping apart from the details of this particular story. And I also would like people to dial in, be part of this conversation today. Today's Friday, the start of the weekend. And it would be nice to hear from both male and females, all right? I believe we're grown-ups. Just would like to hear people's interpretation rather than me just sit down here, go through A to Z and click, goodbye, see you later, all right? So let's be a bit more interactive. So now, the lady said, over time, according to the story, she said, apart from the odd, said, well, there was a time they had a major argument, apart from the minor odd friction here and there that partners can have within the confines of the relationship. So, but there was a major argument which revolved around the involvement of her husband's family, and particularly the mother-in-law. And she said there was a time that they had a major bust up, and the husband believes that she's being, that she's being intolerant when it comes to his mom. So she tried to give me a bit of a background. So the background was when they had this was years ago, right? They had the first child before they came to the UK. So they had the other 2 children here in the UK. So when they had the first child, said basically the mother-in-law, what one could call it, could possibly say she was excited, she was elated and stuff like that. But it said the mother-in-law got ahead of herself and sort of hijacked, the birth of her first grandchild, at the time, that she then basically hijacked the whole procedure running from pillar to post, communicating with third parties, extended members of their family that she knew nothing about. Oh, thank you, Yinka Ajet, for the super chat. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. So the mother-in-law was the one calling pastors and all that for, baby dedication and all that. And you can understand. You can understand how it would feel for anyone. So sometimes it's nice to put yourself in people's shoes. You've just had your baby, regardless of who that person is to you. Maybe your mother-in-law, it could be your sibling, but then you realize that they suddenly sidestep you and then they hijack the whole process, and they're sort of like in the front end of things, and then they are basically making decisions. And this is precious to you. This is your first child, and they're basically then trying to. So anyway, the long and short was mother-in-law. Excuse me, just my villagers are trying to put their finger in my eye. So, jokes apart, the mother-in-law just started talking to some pastors at the time, and so she went to her husband and said, why is your mom, sidelining us and making decisions and all that? So she said at the time, her husband was just saying, my mom, she's just being a mother and all that stuff. So you need to relax, just let her, because it's her first grandchild. So she said, she told her man that no, there's nothing wrong with her being elated, being happy. So, but this is my bundle of joy. This is me. I'm your wife. This is our first child, So she just can't. We can all work together as a team, but your mom should not just barge into things and hijack. You get the gist, right? But she said he was really laid back. So when she kept on, she expected him to step in and say, Mom, okay, let me take over, or, try to be diplomatic and step in and put a halt to that so that you make sure your wife is not upset. So he just kept saying, calm down and stuff, let her handle it. Are you suggesting that she's trying to harm the baby? So because he said that, I think that basically was a catalyst for reaction, right? So that led to a massive argument. And this was years ago. She had to give me that background. So in the process of them arguing, what worsened the situation was the husband allowed the story to spill into the eardrums of his mom, the mother-in-law and stuff. So the mother-in-law then waited for her husband to be out of sight, then came to her and said, oh, so you told my son that I shouldn't, do bloody, bloody, blah. So are you trying to draw battle lines with me? If you approach anyone like that, with that type of tone, with that type of body language, in fact, I think you're the one, the mother-in-law in this context, you're the one who's drawing battle lines. So the lady said she was taken aback, and the mother-in-law was just like, in our local mother tongue, which is Yoruba, right? Wojumi da da. Basically, in English, saying, look at me very well, look into my eyes very well. If you go beyond your bounds or you try to da with me, you'll be dealt with severely. So you can imagine the lady too must have been like, my mom won't be me new, but about test me last son. Imagine can adjust to bra me, man. Of course. Regardless of the type of home training, however laid back you are, if somebody tries to show you a hand in terms of craziness, you might be forced to get the mask of politeness, remove that, and you might come up with your own craziness. Because sometimes when people get backed into a corner, you get reaction, right? The wig might tend to come off, the bra might be flung across the living room, and, all hell will break loose. So... but you get the gist, right? So she said she told her man, and she said she remembered vividly, he stood in the middle of the bedroom, he was dead quiet, said, as soon as you stepped out, your mom said XYZ. You can go ask her and go verify. She's talking about me drawing battle lines and all that stuff. And he went very eerily quiet, and he was just like, oh, you're a troublemaker. you're a troublemaker. I told you already, leave this woman alone and all that. So you can imagine. Anyways, another argument, eventually they moved on and stuff. So I think we've established the fact that the geezer in question has his spinal cord more than likely made out of jelly when it comes to his mum. Okay, no disrespect, but anyways, over time they carried on and all that. So so that was back home in the motherland. Eventually they found their way down to the West. All right, they settled here, found their footings, and as any typical immigrant, and they had the 2 more kids in the system. So she said over the years, the mother-in-law had been twice in the past. Said the first time was quite irritating because every time the husband is not there, she's always eyeballing her, like rolling her eyes and all that stuff, like, watching him, show you. And then when her son is there, Falake, she's always smiling and all that. So when they look at each other, she's, those type of man. So, she said in the end, she was forced to speak to her dad, but she's from a home where, because she's lost her own mother, but her dad's still alive, and dad would just say to her, don't worry, don't, whatever she does, just tolerate her. She has limited time around you. She will go. Don't get in fights. Her dad would say, don't mudsling, don't call her names, in the name of to be seen as being polite. But anyways, this mother-in-law wouldn't back down. And then she said the second time was when they had the 3rd child, but she didn't spend too much time because she stood her ground and said she was always at the forefront of looking after the baby. So the mother-in-law got irritated that, if you can look after your baby yourself, blah, blah, blah. She just packed her bags and went to the house of some other relatives here in the UK. Now, all the while, she said, her husband has never said anything to correct his mom. Never, ever. He would always say to her, if you're a good wife, you would listen to me, you take my instruction, just let her be, she's just being protected. He always come up with a manufactured type of excuses and ask her not to be a troublemaker and all the shebang. So, someday, not too long ago, just a few months ago, her husband normally, he would travel back home to the motherland in Africa. He would go, he would come back to the UK. They're living their lives, has a family and all that stuff. So, if you can hear me, you can see me, smash the like button, please, all right? And you can spare a quick moment as well and bang this stream onto your Facebook page or whatever, man, so we can get more eyes on it. We're trying to get more eyeballs to see this. So anyways, so she said one day, right, she was at home, husband had made a trip to some other part of the UK for a friend's wedding. Okay, so she was at home with the kids. It was a weekend. He was away to attend a wedding. They were meant to go to the wedding all together, but she said one of the children was poorly. So she decided to stay back because the child was really just settling back and all that. So she said, you go, I'll stay at home with the kids and all that. So he went for the wedding. He was away. He was due to come back home on a Monday. And she was just as she normally done for years, just in the wardrobe, arranging clothing, doing laundries, and just doing normal house chores and helping husband with the laundry, folding his boxers, his socks, and things like that. And she said, because, he's a bit untidy, he would just lump everything up in the side of the wardrobe. So she would normally document where he normally keep documents. Anyway, long and short, she was arranging some paperwork for him, and there was a place where he would normally keep his bank statements and things, personal documents and stuff. So she was helping him put documents away, and then she saw a particular envelope that looked kind of strange that she hadn't seen Before, she said it was a massive A4 size envelope or whatever, right? So she looked a bit thick. She just kind of pulled it out of the pile, had a look, and then it turned out to be property related documents, right? That husband had procured back home, land, and then she saw building plans and stuff like that. And then she saw some receipts, like invoices for like payments for building materials. And then she was like, huh? Like, she doesn't even know. She didn't know that he had bought a land, talk less of him building. So she saw like a pile of numerous invoices to do with building materials, supply of blocks, supply of granite, gravel, building materials generally. She was taken aback, like, huh? And he never mentioned this to me. So she then saw some other paperwork with a reference, like handwriting on the paper, reference to like somebody like who's a contractor, a particular engineer, made reference to her husband's mom, came on the site on a particular day and made sure such and such was delivered. And he wrote on there, mommy has wired X amount of money to me. Mommy, that's our mother-in-law. And mommy said, blah, 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 blah. Mommy, this. So please check with mommy the amount of money that she's got left. So anyway, all of that stuff, the paperwork suggested that her mother-in-law was at the forefront of, managing the project. Now, some might argue that there's nothing wrong with that. His mom just helping him, but you can already see where this is going. So you can imagine the rage. I can imagine this woman's rage at that moment, finding out. I'm sure if you passed slices of bread across her nostrils, they will get burnt in that moment, given the level of the rage she must be feeling. So, but she waited though. Thankfully, she didn't set the house on fire. And then she waited. He came back home from the wedding. And then challenged her husband and sat him down and said, Abalagbaja Muntu Yaralo. And I was arranging, the room. I was doing house chores, blah, 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 blah. I saw this. And then she said, before she could even finish, he went ballistic. So he hijacked that part of the conversation as if she purposely took advantage of the fact that he wasn't home and basically was going to rummage through his things. And she said, no. Anyway, he wouldn't believe her. It was a lot of back and forth, emotion flying, both got animated. So eventually she said she wasn't going to back down. And she said, look, man, I do not have a problem with you building a skyscraper if you have the money to build a skyscraper. I said, but I need you to explain to me why you deem it fit or acceptable to hide something of this magnitude or anything from me, and you can confide in your mother. This is the same woman that's been doing XYZ to me for years, and you'd always say to me to be reasonable and all that stuff. So all the while that you go back home under a false pretense, you were going home to monitor the projects, you had your mom doing this and this and this, blah, 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 blah. So you can imagine, man, it became a massive argument. So she said whilst they were arguing, he called like some extended family members and trying to get them to talk sense into her that she's making a fuss, blah, blah, blah. And then her husband was saying to her that, oh, are you not happy if you're this angry? Then, this is why I don't want any hassle because of the way you're behaving. You're not happy about me making progress, any of that. That's like putting a sword, a knife, it's like a crude knife slit through your heart. I can imagine. So they it blew things apart, man. And anyway, she found out husband built a ginormous, block of flats and stuff like that. And not just the mom, she then found out through the conversations, it was a mom and his siblings, managing things back home. And she was intentionally left in the dark. So she feels relegated to the bottom end of the spectrum. She feels used. She feels sidelined, and that basically just led to bad blood and all that. So this woman, as I speak, she said, Phrankleen, even though we have 3 children, I am done. And I really want a way out. So because one, this man has always picked his mom over me. Basically, he would watch his mom do XYZ. I've allowed it for years. And 2, it's just blatant that he has no regard for me, nothing. I'm just a baby making machine. She went on a rant, And I'm not going to lie, I normally don't get emotionally attached to stories. I try my best to just read, be objective. Do I want to talk about this? And I'll bring it to my channel. But it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth, man. If that were to be the truth, actually, because there are sometimes multiple sides to these stories, but I can only go by, what people send me. But so she said he got a lot of third parties. She was bombarded, pastor's wife. She was bombarded by all sorts of third parties, extended family members here in the UK, calling her, desperately trying to admonish her. Said there was one thing that none of them have done. No one has exactly condemned his behavior. Every time she's tried to explain over and over, they would listen. They wouldn't condemn him. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, Then they were saying stuff like protect your home and stuff like that. So eventually, this woman just kind of caved in in the sense that she just stopped bickering about it. And then it's like she's given up. But she's very bitter on the inside, according to the email. She said, Phrankleen, mentally, this man is dead to me. I can't cope anymore. And even though I've got 3 kids with him, I've got 3 kids, with him, said he is so selfish. It's unbelievable. He's not bothered. And he said, I've just removed myself in terms of sexual intercourse, and because I can't get over the emotions, and he's not even trying to fix it, because he's constantly saying to her that, it's mine. And she said the last conversation, it was like, you should feel free if you want to go build your own house as a form of, retaliatory action or something to get even. You don't have to tell me, do I bother you how much you've got in your bank account? Do I ask you questions about your money? All of that nonsense, trying to justify. So she said she wants me to share the story. This is where the story is right now. So that's pretty much the lady's story. She said the whole thing is dead. She wants a way out. You know what, man? I'm just going to put my own interpretation on it briefly. I want people to dial in. And I want us to talk like grown-ups, okay? Again, I think it's just a case of a dude that cannot compartmentalize his feelings for all parties involved. And I've said this before in numerous videos for those that have been watching me for a minute. This is never a case of anybody suggesting that you love your mother less. But your mother and your wife, your woman, they can't be on the same page. They can't be on the same level. They should not be treated as competitors. Your mother has no legs in your marriage, should not have legs in your marriage. Third parties should not have legs. And here is one thing that I want to say. You see, let me just say this before I forget. For those of you, and this is not even gender specific, okay? This is open-ended to both gender, but for the purposes of this story, the man is a culprit here, right? You see, for those of you that you are in a relationship with someone, and then you connive, I use that word, you connive, you involve yourself in an improper collusion with your family to conceal, particularly you conceal major plans and decisions from good partners. Now, I'm going to put a disclaimer. If a partner shows you, or they proved to be like a really toxic person, or they pose a threat to your life or your finances, or they, like it's evident, there are credible evidences that, maybe, for example, you're a woman and your man is having affairs, or he's got baby mamas outside, or he will take your money and he will run it down and not give them back to you, that type of thing. And you were confiding in your mother or something to save your money. That's a different conversation. But you see, for those of you that allow yourself, or you allow access into your relationship, you give access to your mothers, because your jelly, your spinal cords are made out of jelly, in the name of trying to please mommy, because you have your mother's breast milk desperately wet on your top and lower lip. Because mommy, because my mommy. You see, what those family members tend to do is they ride on the wave of your foolishness, okay? They tell you the things you want to hear. They pretend like they are on your side. In fact, the ultimate goal for them is that relationship gets sabotaged, completely obliterated, so that even you yourself, they can eventually down the line take you out and hijack your assets. That's a fact. If you have a mother, for no justifiable reason, that conspires with you, that colludes with you to hide your assets from your partner, and you've decided to adopt the brain of a fish because you're feeling good in that moment, you're going to regret it. Mark my words. Down the line somewhere, those type of toxic actions will come full circle to bite you in the bum. In fact, they'll normally, once they've sabotaged that relationship, the other partner has gone that way and stuff, and then you are left alone now, they'll make you feel good about yourself. Then they pull the plugs on you. Because it's always, some of them go via diabolical means. They adopt, negative energy in terms of African spirituality. They use diabolical means to attack you so they can steal your assets. Because a mother that knows, let's say, for example, she gave birth to 4 of you. You're probably the only one who's doing well, who's building houses, who has lands here and there, who has that business. Your mother knows that you've got some 10, 20 million naira, some $50,000. You got that equity on that property. You've got that investment. All right. Your other siblings, they're not doing greatly. Sometimes they want to put their claws into you so they can use you to fund the others behind you. And if they manage to adopt the toxic mindset that, it's your wife that's in the way, it's prevalent in our community. If it's a man, even however good the woman is, they will conjure lies. It's the behavior, toxic behavior of a dictator, because they will see your woman, even though she's very protective of your interest, because they can manipulate your woman, they will come up with defamatory claims and call out. They will go as far as even paying those spiritual charlatans, otherwise known as pastors and alfas, and lie to them and use them as a mouthpiece to lie to you, inflict you with fear. they are con men and say, oh, you know, such and such might be behind your setback. Oh, she's possessed. Oh, she's from a family whereby they're doing X, Y, Z. Before you even get the chance to add 1 + 1 or connect the dots, the deed is done. I know some men, because their mom said, my mom said, my mom can never lie. Who told you? Who told you that your mom can never lie? Just because she amalgamated her sexual desires with your father, her sexual desires with your father to bring you into existence, doesn't exactly make your mother a superhuman. No disrespect to anyone. So when you're blinded by sentiments and you're blinded by emotions, my mom is no perfect human being. I'm sat here, I've got my shortcomings. So because she's your mom, she is the carrier of the womb that brought you into existence. We get that. Doesn't mean she lacks the ability to conspire negatively against you. You understand? Well, don't buy ye, I'm with Jenny. I'm telling you, man. Smash the like button, man. If you can hear this baritone voice, man, what are you doing, man? Smash the like button. Come on, man. Show your love, man. So, the amalgamation of your father and your mother's sexual desires brought you into existence. That's marvelous. That's commendable, right? But it's just a cycle of life, isn't it? And some of them, like I always say, because they're growing older, the bones are getting brittle now. The bones are getting, and the joints are getting feeble. They're getting inflicted with arthritis, old age problem, joint problem. They're getting old now. And they don't have, financially, right? They have nothing to write home about. There's no savings. They've got no retirement plans. That's their own doing. And I understand people have different journeys in life. So they have it fixated in the core of their brains. You are the retirement plan. I've heard it before where some parents will say, oh, my son, he married this lady. She's very quick. She's had one, two children very quick. Within the space of 3 years, they've already had 2 children. So what? That's your son's life. Your son is an adult. He chose that woman. That's his life. Why do you want to regulate your son's access to his wife's sugar walls? That's bonkers. Why do you want to have a timetable and a pen in your hand as to the number of time your son gains access to his wife's sugar walls? But of course, the reason why some of these parents disseminate that foolishness is because there is an ulterior motive behind it. They think you're moving too quickly, laying your pipe in your woman. Oh, your woman gets pregnant, they are devastated. Because why? They need to be able to get the best out of your finances and your earnings because they have it in their minds that you are their retirement plan. This is usually the driving force of some of these toxic mother-in-laws because they can't come to terms. So this is what I would say to people, except if the woman is blatantly very rude, like disrespectful, you're mouthing off, you're disrespecting your mother-in-law, you're not raised right, with the right manners. But the moment they can't come to terms, it's different. That I love my daughter so much. I love my daughter with every fiber in me as a father. But the truth about life is she's going to grow up at some point and say, Dad, I'm dating such and such. We're gonna get married. You know, I don't want to let go. It's natural. It's love. I love my daughter so much, but I am not going to get to the point where I will then be the father-in-law by the window of my daughter's bedroom. What's going on there? What are you doing to my daughter? You say, put down my daughter's legs. I then want to go and govern her marriage. You've become a crackhead. You've become a nut job. That's not love. This is exactly what's happening with all of these people. This thing has been overplayed in our society. Oh yeah, I gave birth. I carried you in my womb for 9 months. Yeah, you had to. It's the biological arrangement. You didn't. Sorry, I didn't ask to be born. So what do you want? What do you want? You want a trophy. Good children would always admire their parents. Good children would not. I appreciate when things happen naturally. So when you're a good parent, you don't need a megaphone to say, I'm growing old now, don't abandon me. Your children are going to look after you. But the moment you start going after the wives, the husbands, you want to install yourself in the confines of your marriage. You want to go to your son's house and tell your son's wife that, oh, she's got 3 pieces of meat in the pot. It's too much. Don't run my son down. All of those men, like I was saying, are always project themselves as painless. Some of them might be watching me right now. And you allow your mom. I don't get it, man. A few days ago, I still had an argument with a gentleman. It's not a gentleman. That's just me being nice. Just a fool, this guy. 48-year-old. He sounded like he was 5. And dude was saying, the statement that triggered me was, I told my wife, there's no woman on this planet that can be as good as my mom. She shouldn't even try. She shouldn't even try. She can't touch my mom. She can't even, there's nothing my wife can do. How can you even, how is your brain wired? 48-year-old geezer, you're a couple of years away from turning 50. Golden Jubilee. I'm telling you, man. And I nearly lost my voice arguing with this geezer. I'm like, bro, what's wrong with you, man? 48-year-old man. I told my wife, she can't, there's no way she can't touch my mom. My mom is number 1. So I just asked the honest question. Why do you even bother? Why do you bother though? Why do you bother getting married? Just go shag your mom then. Forgive me. Like, why? And again, it's a product of all this toxic culture, toxic upbringing that people have adopted, and they latch onto it like a religion. They believe it's the norm. They believe it's the order of things. It's the toxic order of things that's destroying generation after generation. Yeah. I don't know who you are watching me, all right? Look, man, let me say it for the 1000th time. I've been saying it on my channel forever, right? Please don't misconstrue what I'm saying. Is Phrankleen saying, oh, don't love you? Come on, man. You've got to be petty for you to twist my words. Your mother has no footings, has no place, shouldn't have a place. Don't, in the confines of your relationship, your marriage, don't juxtapose your mother and your woman. They are two different entities. In fact, in terms of your marriage, your woman takes priority. And it's both ways. It's not gender specific. Male and female, both of you. Take care of them. Do whatever you want to do for them, man. Never at the detriment of your home. I don't know what you're expecting. You're expecting some Oscar award, you know, the biggest dummy award of the year. I don't know, man. So this guy, you built a house. You confided in your mom. Oh my pada jile yellow any. I be family kone. Oh my pada balo. Oh my pada jogun si any. I want my pa egbe. They're gonna kill you. You see, let me just say this, and I'm going to add this. I'm going to add this because I know there's some brothers watching this. Their nostrils are flaring up. They will be like, Phrankleen, we get it, but there is something, you know, addressing. Your nostrils are flaring. I know. And you tell me you're watching this. I know. I can close my eyes. So just you know, I know exactly. Yes, there are some women. Yes, truth be told, you got to be careful. You got to be careful. You know, whatever, in terms of what you tell them about your business and your plan. There are some women. But I got news for you. Bro, if you have a woman whereby you are at that point, whereby she is that deadly, or you know she's so vindictive, like it's nothing to do with maybe you've been busted slinging your genitals within the confines of another woman's thighs. If it's not that, well, she's just evil, right? There's some women, they're just designed, they want to clean you out, and they're not, you know, they marry people for maybe ulterior motives. We know that those ones exist though. Let's not kid ourselves. Just like men too exist for selfish reasons, okay? It's not gender specific. So the moment you discover that, I think the remedy to that is remove yourself from people like that. So because if you then know that your woman is that bad, because if I know my woman is that bad, like she's bad, that I can't afford to let her know that I'm going to build a house, I'm not going to let her know I'm going to do X, Y, Z, then come on, man, let's call a spade a spade. So what's the point? What is it exactly that you're doing together, man? You can get enough vaginas outside, man. Vaginas can queue up around the block. You can get enough vaginas, man. Come on, if that's the top of the pile for you. No, why, cutie? So what's the point then? What's the point of the emotional entanglement? What's the point? If the trust is totally eroded, that you have to commit projects in your mother's hands, you have to conspire with family members to conceal. That's deadly, man. We're going to financially really soon now. So what is it that you're holding on to? You want what? A dummy representation of a marriage, what, so that you can please the Joneses or the third parties outside? Why are you gambling with your human existence? Why don't you let that woman go? In fact, you're better off being by yourself. Abi? Because what I've realized is people put so much energy, pointless energy, into trying to, hey, by the way, it's Frankleen's birthday tomorrow. I'm going to have a birthday live stream tomorrow. It's my birthday tomorrow. I'm going to be a year older. All right. So anyway, that's that. Before I forget, let me put the link. I want to talk to a couple of people before we wrap up. Oh yeah, sure. ọlọ́jọ́ ìbí ìjókòó ẹ̀ ò háì ṣe wẹ̀rẹ̀ oyè kájọ ọlọ́jọ́ ìbí ìjókòó ẹ̀ ò. Click on the link, man. Come and talk to me, man. Click on the link. I'll be hitting the cash app for birthday. Hey, Gail, thank you for the support. Hit the cash app, man. Gail is very supportive, man. Actually, Gail, let's make you... Where are you on here, man? Let's make you a moderator, Gail. Click on the link, man. Let's talk. Hey, somebody's on already. Hello. Hold on. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Phrankleen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Good morning. Calling from Seattle.
Hi, what's good? So what do you think, man?
Well, I think this sister should plan her escape and possibly work through a divorce, because it's clear that she's not wanted in this marriage or in this family.
Right.
I'm a strong believer that we owe ourselves happiness.
Right.
And only we can give ourselves true happiness, not another human being.
I love that.
So with 3 kids and you still feel like you're not important or a person of value, there is no need, especially if you're financially stable, right? Of course, his properties may never be your own, and you can still work and build your own property. But you would get your own peace of mind in your own little space, maybe a 1-bedroom apartment for a start. And you will have control of your finances, your emotions, and what you truly want. You can build and develop your own self without developing that man and without being in constant fights with your mother-in-law. Just get your own place, I think.
So let me ask you quickly. What do you think? Why do you think some men and or women, partners in relationship, tend to allow their parents meddle in that relationship and try to gain a spot and try to control and particularly attack, their partners, and then they are just spineless. They can't do anything to control it. Why do you think that happens?
I think it's all about mindset and the way we were raised and the way we grew up, right? For instance, I'm an only child and I grew up with my mom. I've never really lived to my dad. But my mom tries to have a lot of control and force on me. And my father always stays behind the picture. He may barely chat, just send a video or just call and say, how are you doing? But my mom wants to know what is going on from the moment you wake up to the moment you sleep. Right? And if I try to push back, it becomes like people are influencing me. So they don't believe that on your own, you've grown, you're independent, you're an adult. They still feel like they are the children, you're still that child they had. So I think from also what I've noticed with guys, guys are more closer to their mothers. Most of our African brothers are more closer to their mothers. So, and their mothers know that soft spot for all their sons.
And they take advantage.
They take advantage of that. And most of our brothers don't know what it is to really have a wife. And most of these things I've just learned because I live abroad, right? Maybe if I was in Africa, I would see it like normal. But most of our brothers don't know what it takes to have a significant other, your wife as a partner, your wife as your best business partner in that contract of marriage. So this just have to crawl back to mommy. Mommy makes the best jollof rice. Mommy makes the best soup. And they'll never see what their wife brings on the table. She's just a wife. She's just there to make babies, and her voice doesn't matter. So it just depends on where you come from. And it depends. And you could still come from a home where you're being controlled, but you can still put your feet on the ground. There are guys who do that. There are sisters who do that. They don't let their parents influence or control their home. But it's just a sad thing. It's a culture thing, and we just have to
Yeah.
do our best to limit it.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. I appreciate you.
Thank you too. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay,
Bali.
that's fine. Good evening, everyone. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm all right.
Speak up
Right.
a bit. Speak or get closer to your mic, whichever works
Oh,
well.
sorry.
Yeah.
Am I louder
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. It's better now.
Okay. Wow. From what I heard, sometimes it makes you wonder why mother-in-laws are like that when it comes to, especially, a lot of guys are quite close to their mothers. Yes, that's
Mm.
understandable, and then they end up choosing their mother over their wife. My belief is that when you get married, your wife or husband becomes first. It's not your mother, because while you're married, even with your children as well, you will get married, you have children, your children will grow up, and they only need you for the next 18 years of their life, and then they leave the nest. But your husband or your wife will be there constantly.
Yes.
Yeah, so they are the one who will remain constant. Your mother has her own husband. Yeah, so it is a shame for this lady. The Personally, based on, of course, of what you've told us, her side of the story, I
Yeah.
think it is better for her to start planning her exit one way or
Yeah.
another,
Like
because
like
the
like the other lady said. Yes.
yeah, she needs to, because the longer she stays in that marriage, clearly the man doesn't value her the way she values him. She probably and it's a worry, because the longer she stays, the more bitter she will be, and eventually that maybe he may, in the future, if she doesn't walk away, he'll end up
Yeah.
leaving her. And then the next man now she meets, now she'll have that notion that, oh, all men are dogs, all men are dogs. But no, not all men are dogs. Unfortunately, is the person that you were married to didn't treat you the way you deserve to be treated. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so definitely. So for the sake of her, for the sanity, for the sake of her children, because that's another mistake, unfortunately, us, in the black community we make. We'll say, oh, let me just hold on, maybe till the children are grown, or let me stay and at least try for the
Oh
sake
yeah,
of
yeah,
the
that's
children.
true. That's very common.
Yeah, like it doesn't benefit the children at all, because now you're teaching your children to you're teaching them and letting them know that it's okay to stay in a relationship or in a marriage even if you're not happy. So it doesn't it's not fair on them, and it's not fair on them at all, because that's what they'll grow up learning.
It's interesting that you said that though, because I remember a woman that watches my channel. It was about last year. She said the same thing to me. So their mom, right? She said their
Mm.
mom separated from their dad. Like no, their dad died. Sorry. So and
Yes.
then mom's a lot older now, and then mom
Yes.
was there lamenting and saying, "Oh, your dad did X, Y, Z. I was never happy." And then so the kids there who are now elderly, of course, older now, sorry, and then
Yes.
they then said, "Why didn't you leave? If that's the case?" And
Yes.
then she said, "Oh, I stayed, for you guys." And then they said, "What difference would it have made? Because you wouldn't have
Exactly.
abandoned us." You would have been able, you would have enjoyed your own freedom. And then the lady said their mom burst into tears crying. It's hurtful for some people actually, but
It is.
um, but then again, that in itself as well is part of the toxic culture whereby you're required to remain even though the place is toxic,
Yes.
and it's yeah, it's just man, it's
Yeah, it is sad, because no one is justifying his behavior, because the fact that she wants to leave, nobody wants to leave a happy relationship or a happy marriage. So clearly there's a reason why she wants to leave that marriage, and he
yeah,
hasn't that hasn't registered in his head that his wife wants to leave him. So if anything, before it becomes worse, before their behavior starts to affect the children, she needs to plan her escape. At least then she will know walking away that she'll have that sense of peace in her head.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mbalit. I
Thank
appreciate you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday for tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you. All right. Now, let's see. Hello, Michelle.
Oh, hi. How's it going? Can you
Going
hear
good,
me?
man. Yeah, loud and clear. How are you?
Cool, cool, cool. I just wanted to touch on a concept which you brought to my attention. And I
Right,
thought about it and I said, I'm calling from Houston, by the way, and happy birthday
great,
in
great.
advance.
Right.
But I just wanted to say this. Have we thought about the concept that sons in a lot of African cultures, I'm not speaking for all. I can only relate to the
Yeah, yeah,
Nigerian
yeah.
and Ghanaian cultures. But I
Right.
realized sons are coddled while daughters are raised. So in a
Mhm.
lot of families, the sons are coddled, they're spoiled, they are babied in a way. And when they grow up as men and they have to take on responsibility of themselves, they're not willing to open up. They're not, all of them aren't all willing to open and take up the mantle and be the man that they're supposed to be. So they kind of lean on this mommy crutch that allows them to act selfishly. I'm not saying all of them. There are men, there are great men out there, but I'm saying that perhaps this is where it's coming from. It's not
Right.
necessary that it's not necessarily that he is. I'm not saying one person is bad or and the other person is good. I'm just saying that
Right.
it's one person's inability to fully take on responsibility of their place in the marriage. So fully be a husband, fully be a man of the house, fully be
Hmm.
take charge of his family. He's not willing
And you're
to
saying that
complete.
that can be traced back to
Yes,
how society has raised them.
yes, and I see it quite often. I see it quite often, and
Hmm.
it's pretty detrimental. And I think it's we need to change our mindsets on how sons are raised. Maybe we should start putting responsibility on sons a little more
And you know what?
earlier.
You know what? I think you've made very powerful point, and that's why I've said something similar before, which, in line with what you've just said, if you were raised and with, because I'm a believer in you can't give what you don't have. So if
Hmm.
you were raised, and this is a case for so many people. So if you're raised and you don't have some of these things in you, because as you know, a lot of people, oh, I like A meets B, B and A like each other, chemistry, blah blah blah. You know, you make babies, you get married, boom. Then when you get under the same roof, reality kicks in, and a lot of people don't even know how to handle themselves. You've not even discovered yourself to an extent. Talk less of now amalgamating your feelings with someone else, and then so many factors like that. And as you say, it's the society. Like even
Right.
I know that this is just guys being guys. I hang out with some dudes and we're talking, and then I'm saying, hey man, look, it could be this type of topic, right? And then as soon as someone like me or someone else is saying anything along the lines of what this topic is about, you hear stuff like, oh, you're westernized. And that thing pisses me off. Like, no, it's not about being westernized. That in itself is suggesting as if we're totally archaic. We are in the dark in the motherland, and we are saying everything about white people is just perfect. You know,
Mm.
stop that. We're just saying, well, we've sort of seen the light. It's just the way I sit down and I say, I don't believe in your religion no more. I exist outside the box. That doesn't make me westernized. In fact, if I'm westernized, I'm just saying it, I should be carrying on adopting the religion of the invaders. That's a different topic. So a lot of these things is unfortunately it's the way we're raised. There was a day I went to Nigeria on holiday this few years ago, and I'm not gonna lie. A friend was getting married. We went to Edo State. That was the first time I would ever go to that part of Nigeria. And we were just sat down. This was a couple of nights before the wedding. So we were just hanging out in the compound of a hotel. A lot of us diasporan dudes sat there. And some guy, we were just joking, we were just banter, laughing. And this guy just suddenly took a sharp left and said, I remember when we were growing up, like, my mom, if my mom says such and so, my dad would just tear her left dirty slap. That would reset her
Oh my
brain.
God.
Man, my jaw was literally on the floor. And I remember that night, I said, dude, wait, your mom? And he went, huh? Yeah, you know, you got to put this woman in check. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I'm like, wow. And I'll be honest with you, I got in a massive argument that night. I nearly bust my voice box. At the end of the day, I had headache. I was angry. I stormed into my hotel room. But the point I'm trying to make is, this guy, he thought I was crazy for even daring to challenge him. Do you see? So imagine going into a marriage with that type of mindset. You're a product of the environment. So guy believes, you know, he watched his mom torn apart growing up. So basically that means if the wife gets to piss him off, sheesh.
Yeah.
He will catch those hands, right?
That's actually really sad.
So, and that basically, it goes into other things as well, like what you're saying. It's the same thing.
But here's to you know, just to backtrack a little bit and apologize for that. But here's another point. So in Ghana, there's this and I think in most pre-colonial West African countries, when a woman first has her period, right, she is put through a rite of passage where she is now becomes a woman, and she's shown how to take care of her body, how to take care of her husband. So you're seeing these girls at 13, 14, 15 learning to hold their own. But where is that very same rite of passage for men? And maybe I'm far removed, I'm modernized, please forgive me for that, but I don't see a lot of those rites of passages for young men. So what if we these young boys, say like the bar mitzvahs, they turn 13, okay, you're a man now, you have to take care of your family, this is how you take care of your finances, this is how you take care of your wife, this is how you take care of your children, these are the things that you have to do, this is how to stand your ground, this is how you are going to project yourself as a man of integrity in society, whatever it is that you're going to do, this is for your legacy, so on and so forth. And I believe that once those are taught in the home of individuals, starting with us, because we're standing in the gap, to be able to, you know, for posterity's sake, change the, you know, the landscape of the society that we're in, right, as Africans, we should be able to start teaching our individual nieces and nephews, and so not even nieces, I think girls are fine, but the nephews, you start teaching them early that this is who you are, this is what your legacy is going to be. So if you go out into the bigger society and you go misbehave, you're going to eat dirt, you know. And I think that's a very difficult concept, and as much as and it's just something, it's just my form of solution. Okay, so that's all I have to say. But
thank you, you're a star. Thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Biola.
Hello, Phrankleen.
Hello.
Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you.
And tomorrow is my wedding anniversary as well. So
yeah,
so we will have something to celebrate tomorrow. Anyway, on this issue, there is something that I think we don't pay attention to. I think most Africans is this thing they call our mental health. I think it's something that we need to be very, very careful about. And people, all in the name of marriage, lose themselves, they lose their mental health, and gradually they just become someone that even they themselves cannot recognize anymore. So, for example, I know someone very close to me, and she's been married for 8 years now. And, you know, I mean, I've been hearing a lot about mother-in-law issue, but for her is a father-in-law. The father-in-law dictates everything that happens in that marriage. to the extent that when they got married, and the bad thing is that they are not living in the family house. So they have this big compound where they have, buildings. So they are living in one of the buildings with, the father-in-law as well. So the husband bought her a car, and a Jeep, and the father-in-law was like, this Jeep is too big. Why you should have gotten a smaller car? Do you know he sold that car and bought her a smaller car? And there was even a time when she had a baby, the father-in-law came to their house and said the baby milk was too expensive, and went out to buy another baby milk and told her that they should be buying this going forward. And the husband said, that is okay, that is okay, and that is okay. And there was even a time she was so desperate for them to leave the family house. And she was lucky, she pushed him, they built a house together, a bungalow together. Now let us move into our bungalow. Daddy said we should still stay in the family house. They are still in that family house till today. And I just had to tell her that, well, I'm married. I might not be in the best position to tell you to leave your husband's house, but your mental health is really critical here. You are even losing yourself. You are losing everything. It's like this man, your husband cannot make any decision except daddy says. And
That's terrible.
there was, it's very, very terrible. And now the guy has even gone outside of the marriage to have a baby with another person because daddy said he should have more children. And
Man.
even the father, everybody went to the naming ceremony to celebrate the new baby, and to not even make the whole matter worse. The father is a pastor in a very popular church. And I've been asking that, is this what they allow in this man's church to do? That he can even come out boldly and accept his son having, another child outside of the marriage. So, for me, everybody has said, that she should plan her exit. But one thing I just want people to think of is be very careful of your mental health. Because if you are whole, that is when you can even take care of these children that some people say, because of the children, I want to stay. If you lose yourself and you are locked up somewhere, or you become suicidal, or even these children will not enjoy you, and you would have used your selfish decision to even affect their life. They need their mom, whether within the marriage or outside of the marriage, they need their mom. So I just want people to be very careful of this. Thank you. And
Thank you
enjoy
very
your
much.
day
I
tomorrow.
appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Fantastic. Mr. B. Mr. B.
Hello, Phrankleen. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you.
Right. Happy birthday in advance.
Thank
Birthday
you.
in
Thank you
advance.
very much. Thank you.
Phrankleen, will you be kind enough to tell us how old you are so that we can get you the right card?
Ah,
Go on. No, don't be shy.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you next year.
Anyway, all right. All the best. Okay, back to the topic. Right.
Yes.
See, so I'm trying to be objective here, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to be going. I'm not going to bash any gender or whatsoever. What
Yes.
are we advise? What are we advise people, especially women, is to make sure they are financially independent before going into any relationship. So all this, the background to all the problems you've been coming up and banking on, for me, is when the woman rely financially on the man, and the in-laws could see that this woman is coming up from poor background, coming to our home, she sat out the money, blah 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 blah, all that.
That's true. That's true.
So
That's true.
that's where the perception comes from. You see, but if the woman comes with a career. She got her own career. She got financial independence. She will be treated with more respect. She won't be treated as someone that's coming in to rely on the man's finance. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, and that's what I see as genesis. All these problems coming from. You see, so I'm a believer in a woman being financially independent, having her own career, not just being an housewife. Then she will command respect from everyone. Then she can hold her own ground, and a view will be respected. So she won't be treated like a trash. Thank you very much. That's my contribution.
Thank you very much, Mr. B. I appreciate that point of view. Thank you, sir. Nice. That's interesting. The Twinkle GG.
Hi, Phrankleen.
Hi.
Hi. Somebody mentioned a couple of things that I agree with, but I'll start off with I'm a child of parents who separated. They're not divorced, they're separated when I was in my early 20s, right? And with the information I now know, I wish my mom had left my dad when she found out he didn't have a backbone, because it leads to a bitter parent. And if you're bitter and you're raising your children with that bitterness, it's a toxic environment, right? So sometimes people will say, stay for the children. No, live for yourself and live for your children, right? Because they deserve better. They deserve to be raised in a family, even if it's a single parent, where there's happiness, there's peace, instead of, one parent not having a backbone and allowing, one side of a family to control their nuclear family. It's not fair on the wife or husband, and especially on the children, right? The other thing that a lot of people avoid, especially as Africans, we avoid going for counseling and therapy because it always goes down to, I'm not crazy. Why do you want me to see a counselor? But sometimes you need to, because you need to be equipped.
Sorry to cut you. I like what you said there about going for counseling. I think the reason why that's not really popular in our society is because religiosity has taken over a lot of these things. That's why when people are having, like what you said now, going for counseling allows us to go and speak to experts that will be able to look at the problems objectively and advise you and say, you're not pulling your weight here. You're not doing this. But if you run to a pastor, anyway, don't get me started, man. Go on. Sorry to cut you.
I agree with you. From being very, very religious to I don't believe anymore for many reasons, right? If you're going to pastor is not trained. Would you go to pastor if you have a toothache? No, you go to the dentist,
Exactly.
So people should go to the right people to help them, right? And counseling is not just for a little while. Every time you think you're having a milestone or you're having problems, go to a counselor, right? Go as a couple, go individually, because it helps you. And it also helps, especially in healing. A lot of us come from very toxic or questionable backgrounds, and we carry that into our marriages, into our relationships. We carry it forward into raising our children, right? And then we ask, who cast me? The pastor will tell you generational curse. No, you have carried on bad, toxic behavior, right?
Yes.
And you think
100%.
you'll be any better. You will not be, and it will continue to your children, your grandchildren. And this thing of my mother-in-law was horrible to me, so I'll be horrible to my daughter-in-law. What do you achieve? Look at how miserable you are as a woman. Why pass it on to the woman who marries your son? When does it end? Because we need to stop these things. There's no way as Africans will progress very far if we are carrying luggage and baggages from our parents, our grandparents. We are not going to go forward. It's never going to happen. And if it gets to a place where you have to leave, if your family does not understand, be strong enough for yourself and your children. Sometimes you don't have, actually, a lot of times you do not have to explain yourself. It's your life. When you die alone. They bury you, you move on, they move on with their lives. So why are you explaining to them I have to leave and you want their support? If they cannot give it, support yourself. Leave for your children. Then it does not continue. We have to stop these things.
But you know that I like what you've said. Very powerful points. But in order for us to be able to stop this toxic cycle, like you've repeatedly hammered, people have got to be willing. Look,
Yeah.
I was saying to someone the other day, a bulk of the cultural problems, societal problems that we have in Africa, I don't care if you're Nigerian, if you're Zimbabwean, blah, blah, blah. If we are able to remove or at least curtail religiosity, a bulk of our problems will be solved in Africa. Do you not realize that? I'll give you an example. Somebody was saying this to me jokingly. We laughed about it, and I thought about it to be the truth. An average person who lives in a, in a part of Nigeria whereby they're struggling with basic amenities, for example, yeah? They are mentally wired and conditioned to be fasting and praying, stretching their hands towards a transformer, electricity transformer, and praying for water supply. How can you be praying for water supply? They are made to believe that they should bring their blank passports to the church, and when some pastor conjures some lie, the British embassy, without them filing application or being able to effectively meet requirements, the British embassy or American embassy will mysteriously call them and give them visa. Why? Because they are children of God and they merit those favors, which is absolutely nonsense. Now, what am I trying to say? If you now eventually get the chance to travel abroad, as challenging as the West may be, everybody works hard and all that stuff, you soon realize that you go to work, even if you work 12 hours shift, 13 hours shift, you come back home, you don't have to go and look for kerosene to put on your lamp. You don't have to then take a keg and go and look for petrol to put in your generator, right? So you come home, you put the food in the oven or in the microwave or on fire, the tap is running in the bathroom, you finish with the toilet, you can flush. You don't need no prayer points for, if there is an emergency right now, call 999, they take you straight to the NHS, you go and get treated by the doctors, right? So all of these mentality that are really toxic. I talk to some of my people back home. I'm pro-Black. I love my people. Religiosity has bent and destroyed a lot of the minds of our people. It's the same thing that runs an overflow into relationships and how people live their daily lives. Because you see it around here. You don't have to pray for these things. There's a structure in place. This is what I'm saying. For us to see these changes, people have just got to be able to remove themselves. And
remove yourself from, that's the thing. We have to remove ourselves from what is magical thinking, because pastor will pray for your passport and you get visa. How? Magic is a magic. Relationships, the economy, governments that work, they have worked not because of magic, but because structures have been put into place. People have done the work. So can we come back and do these things for ourselves? If you choose to believe in God, believe in God, but work hard.
Sorry to cut you. The same pastor that would say to you, somebody, I mean, this happened to a close family member, okay? It's even getting me upset now. The same pastor that knows somebody has bowel cancer and is telling you to guzzle down a bottle of a Goya anointing oil. Goya was actually designed for cooking before Africans latched onto it and turned it to a spiritual substance, right?
Anointing oil.
The pastor basically asks you to turn your back to a chemotherapy treatment that could have helped you stay alive. So you wasted good 6 months when you could have attacked the cancer in your bloodstreams, right? You didn't, and eventually the person became terminally ill, they died. And the same pastor said, oh yeah, it's the Lord's doing. The Lord called her home to rest. The same pastor, guess what? When they develop health problems, they go and look for private clinics. They don't joke with their health. They take from the money that we've raised for them, they go and look after themselves. So this is what I'm talking about, religiosity. Some of these things are just logical reasoning. This is why I say the Black man can sit here. We can talk about, and woman, talk about racism, oppression, blah, 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 400 years of slavery, yada, yada, yada. Everybody knows the story. But under the same breath, we would defend virulently, tirelessly, these religions that are clearly chaining us down, particularly mentally. Go on, my sister. Sorry to cut you.
And you're finding, because I have a recent story of my cousin who he was not working, he was homeless. He went to a church, became born again, and the next week the pastor asked him for tithe. Wait, you know this guy is not working, right? And you're asking them for tithe to line your pockets, right? We need to put these hearts aside. Yes, we have grown up, a lot of us, in religions of a sort. Take that heart aside and look at life. Add 1 + 1 and make it 2. Let's stop making it 22, because it's never going to add up. And we are the ones who are suffering, right?
Yeah.
If pastor cannot help you, where can you get this help? Right? Because we keep saying that they came and gave us religion. They gave us a Bible, took our land, took our resources, took everything, right? And we are still continuing this, right?
Absolutely.
We are still saying, we have all these issues. We are here attacking each other, even in a country that is not made for us, right? We are the ones who work so hard to make it work. This country is not made for us. And we are here being our own worst enemies, right? And then going around talking to pastors. We need to put those hearts aside, these religious hearts, and find ways to help ourselves effectively, right? If it means that relationships are not working, we need to walk away. If we can get help, we need to go for therapy. If not, divorce is not a failure, right? Divorce is just the end of something that is not working. Yeah, so we need to allow these things to end. If it's not working, let it end.
Do you know that we've applied religion in Africa, yeah, and let me just put a disclaimer. We're not just talking recklessly here and saying, oh, every little frivolous, or every little misunderstanding, sorry. Oh, we're asking someone to jump out of a window and just abandon their marriage and stuff, whereby it's obvious that this is completely toxic. Get out. But the problem with back home is because of religiosity mixed with toxic culture. In fact, if you tell them that your eyeball is dangling out of your eye socket, the Bible does not agree with divorce, so you have to go back. Yeah, but this man smashed a blender on my head. Yeah, but the Bible says the Lord does not, until that woman dies.
And then they come back and say, why didn't she leave? I
think thanks to social media and quite a lot of videos going viral, exposing things, now I think it's perhaps some kind of helping people changing their mindsets a bit. I don't know, man. Not to go off topic, man. It's like you were saying, and the other people have said, a lot of this is adoption of toxic culture. It's the adoption. There's nothing worse than having a toxic mindset. If you're talking to someone whose mind is already formed, a fully blown adult, is bent, is set in place like a rock, you can't penetrate. They can't penetrate because they're so fixed on those ugly ways. A lady was telling me, she bumped into, this was before the lockdown started. She said, Franklin, we got talking at the train station. And she said, in my family, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to say which country. And then she said, she's here in the UK. She said, one of my uncles were having a meeting because somebody passed away. So da-da-da-da-da. And they asked me, my sister, and my older sister, 3 of us, our mom and our auntie, asked all of us. They said we were banned from the meeting. We should leave the room. So this lady that was talking to me, fought back and said, no, we're not going anywhere. And I said, why? Why did they kick you out of the room? She said, because we're women, we're not capable of being part of important meetings. And I'm like, God damn, this is a particular country. I don't want to name the country, but it's in Africa. It's not even Nigeria. We have similar type of crap too, but this one is even deeper than I ever knew. And she said, I fought back, and then my mom slapped me, said, I am being disrespectful, I'm westernized. And I said to my mom afterwards that I will never forgive you, for slapping my face, because I'm also fighting for you and every other young girl, that why can't we just sit down, be part of the meeting? We get thrown out just because we got vaginas between our legs. The same vaginas that the men would run after. And I stood there looking at this woman's mouth. It shocked me. This is what I'm saying about toxic culture. But then again, when you look at it, it's a vicious cycle. Those men with their white beard and their fish brains, no disrespect, but we're also their products of that toxic culture that they've adopted, and they are determined to pass on to the next generation. It's a vicious cycle.
But Franklin, do we need to pass everything on?
No,
We
we don't.
don't. Some things need to end. If women being set aside because they cannot make decisions, it's not working, because a lot of these decisions being made are questionable. Some are very intelligent and some are questionable. If they allow the women to sit and participate, some of these things will end, right? But it has to start somewhere. Where does it start? It starts with us. It starts with us making these decisions to put an end. It doesn't mean we'll be perfect or we'll make the decisions perfectly, but if we stop some of these things, it will allow our children to stop more, right? And at the end of the day, maybe we'll have a playing field of a sort instead of being given, because we're not even given a piece of the pie. We're given crumbs and we accept it. Until when? We have to start ourselves. Before we even go and say, white man help us, we have to start. And we have to stop these things. Anyway, thank you very much.
You very much. I appreciate you, man. Those are very passionate and very, very, very emotional. Thank you. Thank you very much. How's the coffee?
Hi, birthday boy.
Hi.
How are you?
I do. What's good?
Nothing much. Lots of people have said quite some good stuff. But what I wanted to add, that I think going forward, the solution will be that each and every one of us take responsibility for our own actions and how we want to live our life. I think as women and men, we need to stop accepting bare minimums. Bare minimum is our culture. Our culture doesn't encourage you to be more than our average. It's just a bare minimum. So you need to decide yourself that you want to go above that. And I think whilst you're dating somebody, whilst you're courting with them, it all starts from there. You need to marry somebody that aligns with your own vision. What are your visions?
Absolutely.
Do you even have one? So if somebody is having conversations with you and you are asking critical questions, oh, how do you want us to run our marriage? What do you think about your mother coming to live with us? And he's saying things like, oh, I don't see anything wrong with my mommy coming to stay with us 1 year. Come pick your bag and run. Why do you need to marry such individual? In 2021, we should not be talking about, oh, I'm living in my family's house, in my husband's family's house. Who does that? Why will a man marry you and he doesn't have a job, he doesn't have a house, and you carry your bag from your father's house and moving into his family's house, and you expect them not to abuse you? Auntie, you made that decision, you have to sit down with it. So going forward, you need to make a decision that aligns with your own belief, aligns with your own mental.
I don't know if you heard what that gentleman said. We called Mr. B. He said, he made a very important point, that also some women who marry just in the name of marrying, and if you don't have a source of income, if you're broke, you're not making your own money, it would allow the in-laws, to violate you and disrespect you and treat you like a doormat.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
Absolutely. I mean, we did say it last week as well, that you don't have any reason going into marriage if you are not financially buoyant. You need to have a financial structure in place, either as a man or as a woman. You need to have something to fall back on. If you do not have that, please, by all means, wait till you get that. You need to have a business, a source of income. We don't need to be talking about all this nonsense anymore. And women that are staying in marriages, abusive marriages, toxic relationship, all in the name of children. My dear, I pity you, because we are just rolling and rolling and rolling in the same cycle. Nothing is going to change, Franklin, if we don't put an end to it with our own generation. If something is not working, please feel free to separate yourself from that.
Watch this, yeah. Somebody just left a comment. You still get treated like nothing, even when you are doing something. So what Miss or Mrs. Fumi Williams is saying here is, there's still some of those crazy ass families whereby even when you blatantly have, because it's true though. I like to balance this argument. You've made important points, and I agree. Mr. B said the same. It's true that some women, even when they're independent, like we're saying, they tick the boxes, they have something bringing in money. Those crazy in-laws will still try to piss on them. What do you think?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. And that's where it comes in. You need to use a check and balance. And I'm not saying this from hearsay. I'm saying this from my own personal experience, Franklin. You need to sit down. I mean, I wasn't a woman that was sitting down waiting for any husband, but still they treated me like shit. I had to sit down and think with my own brains. Do I want to continue my life like this? Or do I want to stay there and be praying to one invisible Jesus that, oh, everything is going to work? Oh, please, I picked my bag and almost I got my child and I ran for my life. Simple, no fight, nothing. You have a right to come and see your child anytime you want to. You have a right to be in your child's life. That is not an issue. But as far as our relationship is concerned, you are not the kind of man that I want. Please. Yeah, you got to make that decision for yourself. Nobody is going to make it for you. Just like Biola said, when you die, you are going to bury you on your own. That mother that keeps pushing you and that father that keeps telling you to wind your husband up, they are not going to bury them with you. You are going to die alone. So why can't I make my own decision by myself? Why do I need to consider anybody in it? I don't care what you think about me. It's my own life, it's my own happiness, and it's my own sanity. Most importantly, because it doesn't matter how many degrees, how many businesses you have. If you are not okay upstairs, frankly, I can't count how many women are walking in the streets of Kent and they'll be talking to themselves. It's appalling. You would think they are listening to music. No, they are not listening to music. They are actually talking to themselves. You see them in the morning taking children to school and they are talking to themselves. They are having proper conversations with themselves. Why? Because a man is sitting down at home messing up their brain. Why? Carry your bag and go. It's not by force now. Who marriage help? I can't take any Mrs. Nonsense and go and collect any money from the bank. They won't give you any loan if just because you are Mrs. Nonsense. Please, your mental health is very, very important, and that of your children as well. Even if you don't think about yourself and you're so selfish, you want to be called Mrs. in the society, think about those poor little ones that you've brought to life. They have a right to have a good environment to grow up in. Why? For goodness sake. Oh my God. Have a good day, Franklin. Enjoy yourself tomorrow.
I'm going to be on the live stream tomorrow. Bring my jollof rice for my birthday tomorrow.
I'm going to be here with our Ashley B.
Thank you, my sister. I'll catch you later. Thank you. Yes, that's powerful, man. Expose Africa. What's going on?
I'm okay. I'm just seeing Africa.
What am I seeing there? Happy birthday, Phrankleen. Is that what you put on the screen? Thank you, bro.
Yeah, man. It's a long time, It's my first time to be on live streaming on your site.
Yeah.
Even if I've been watching you for a long time.
All right. So what do you think? What do you think, man?
Today's topic is somehow complicated. It needs a lot of time because what you have started is, especially when we're talking about a man to live at his family, or a wife decide to get married with a person who's not well off. Frankly, I've been watching you for some time. There is one question I need to ask you, especially when you talk about God issues. Do you believe God is there?
Bro, can we I don't know. I want to answer you, but I don't want us to go off topic.
Just small, then I go there. That's enough. One question, I go there.
Do I believe what?
Do you believe that God is there?
Who is God to you? That's the question. What does God mean to you? Is that the interpretation of the religion? What religion? What is God to you to start with? I am a God in my own right. So what does God mean to you?
All right, viewers, we are sorry for inconvenience or for interruption.
No, it's fine. Go on.
Yeah, but because we are now slide away from the topic. Anyway, let me just give you an example. To my understanding, God is the creator of heaven and earth. There is a reason why I say that God is there, because one day I get my wife, and then when we had the sex, we just mix our sperms, and then I was just thinking about water and water. Then human being comes out. How can it works? There is some power that makes that water, and then human being come out. And then you go sleep, you breathe, you're not pained. But when you get sick and then you lose a moment without having a natural breathe, you pay a lot of money. So there are some things that I see.
Bro, look, man. Forgive me. Hey, yo, look, I'm sorry. I feel bad, man. I had to cut you off, man. Sorry, what was that? I let down you. People. Sorry, brother, man. I had to cut you off, man. Mr. Ben.
Hey, my brother.
What's
How
going
you
on, bro?
doing?
Talk to me. I'm all right, man.
I'm
Good to have
very
you.
well. Thank you so much. Happy birthday in advance.
Thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. A lot of people have been talking, and they've been making some sense and some which I don't agree to. But I'm not going to be biased. I'm just going to give a kind of a story of myself. You see,
Okay,
in
bro.
both sides,
Yourself, man. That's what we're here for. Go on, sir.
in both sides, you see, the
Okay.
men and the women, they have their own upbringing. You see, sometimes we cannot put all these things in the society. It goes to the family background, how you were brought up. Who are your parents? Who brought you up? You see, let me go with my own story. You see, in my own family, like I am the first person that when you go by rules, I am the first person that I will say I have divorced if I look around the family.
Right.
And you know how this happened? I don't know. Maybe it's my luck. maybe that is my luck. In Nigeria, we have south, we have southwest, we have north. My first wife was from the southwest, from where I came from. We were living together. My parents, they don't interfere in my relationship, in my marriage. You're laughing. You see, when I do things, we do things together. When I send money, and this lady she has a child by someone before I married her. When I send money to her parents, I do take care of that baby like mine. I send money to her. I give stuff to them, to the parents. Whenever I'm sending to my own side of my family, I let her know. She knows everything what that I do. But do you know that whenever I do things to my own side of the family, the mom will call me, which I believe that is what they discuss when they have their discussion, to tell me that all my money, I'm sending it to my own family.
Oh.
You understand? Sending all my money to my own family, but never complained of what I do to the side of our own family. It gets to a time that we start having issue based on I do to my family, but whatever I do to our own family never counted. It became a very big issue that made me to look, like what? Everything goes on both sides. If I'm giving to your family, you should also let both family enjoy the
Please move
the
closer
blessing.
to your
But
mic.
hello? Can you hear me?
Move closer to the mic. Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. I can
Okay.
hear myself
Can you
in
hear me
your
now?
background. If you can mute me in the background and then carry on talking.
Oh, you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah. Go on.
Oh, the background, because I'm in a silent place, quiet place.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm saying, I just don't want to show my face. You know?
Go on, brother. Go on, brother.
When these things all goes on, it become an issue, and I left.
Mm.
And I left this marriage for good. I left after a while. I went to the Southwest. And when I went to the Southwest, same thing happened. This same woman, I give her everything. My parents never interfere in whatever was going on in the marriage. You understand? So I buy property, and I never interfere in the property. I'd never even look at the document of this paper of the property building. But do you believe that the day I've asked for to see the document, every of the document was named in her name? And I question, why are you putting all these properties only in your name? My names are not reflecting. And when we were arguing about it, she took this issue to her parents. Her parents invited me. We talked, and the first thing the mother will say is, there is nothing wrong in having a property and her name being there because she's my wife. That the building that they are living is their building, but the name of the first son is the one that is on it. Then I asked the mom, I said, if you did that and your husband agreed, that should not be applied to me too.
So
I
sorry
should be aware of what is going on.
The issue here that you're getting at is about the issue of boundaries, right?
Hello?
I can hear you. Go on. Can you hear me? I've lost you. You can try to reconnect. Don't know what's going on. Your audio, I don't know if it's calling, where you're calling from. I doubt it's here in the UK. Well, I think in a nutshell, I get what you're trying to. If there's anyone, I can take a couple of more people. That's the link. Some people are asking for the link. If you still want to call in, tap on the link quickly and rejoin. The link is on the screen. Take a couple of more people before we wrap up. The long and short of what we've been talking about is about boundaries. It's pretty much about boundaries. So I just wanted this to be a bit more interactive by bringing in, people to share their views and stuff like that. Like I said, man, if you're going to be be playing hide and seek at that level, man, there's no point. That's all I'm saying. Hello. Hello. If you're going to hello, can you hear me?
Hello, Phrankleen.
Hi.
Hello, Phrankleen. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, my name is Demi. Yeah, it's a very interesting topic here. Can you hear me? Hello, Phrankleen.
Yeah. Can you mute your probably your video in the background, because I can hear myself. There's like an echo thing going on.
Okay, can you hear me now? Is it clearer?
Yeah. Go on, please.
Okay, it's a very interesting topic. One of the things I've found is we're really rooted in sentiments. One of the people I met growing up, he was a reverend in church, by the way. So this is just a little bit of a mix with a religious sentiment thing. He used to say in church back then, he was a bit of a controversial reverend, if I can say that. He said to the people one day, all of you people who say, if your child does this, or if your son does that, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to curse you because he's not living according to your expectation, he's not doing your wish. He says, really, one of two things is going to happen if you ever curse your child. If you see your child will not prosper because it's not doing your wish, what you're going to end up getting is either that child eventually prospers and you end up with breast cancer, the same breast you used to curse the child, or the child actually does not make a headway in life. One of the two has to happen. Now, in line with what is going on here, this same man preached on another day and said, when you say, oh, all the suffering I went through because of you, and then you pay me with this, you can't even listen to me, your mother, you are elevating your wife ahead of me. So if you give precedence to your wife over your mother, and your mother tries to shade you or blackmail you with all of the things that she did for you when she was growing up, oh, I sacrificed my happiness, I sacrificed everything for you. It's all bullshit because, hey, you were not doing the child a favor. The child didn't beg to come to the world. You have no right to do that to your child. Now, this is an Anglican church where I grew up. Anglican church, for that matter, it is an unconventional message for a reverend to preach. Guess what? The reverend did not last in that church. They transferred him. Church politics. So this is me just giving an example to what exactly goes on within the African community. So this man, I've been looking for a way to get in touch with him. I've not been able to find him, even on Facebook. I loved him. I had a deep admiration for him growing up, even as a child, because he spoke truth to power. That sentiment, Phrankleen, is destroying us. So it's beyond, yes, let's blame the men who are spineless. It's okay to blame the men who are spineless, but let's address the roots. Let's send more people to speak truth to power. Let's talk about the people who are teaching us bullshit messages on the pulpit. Let's talk about people who are not giving us the right messages. The brainwash starts from childhood. All right, so
you're
that's
right. I agree. I think I've had a few people cover that. I also said it. That religiosity, that's what I said earlier. I'm not sure if you caught that bit, that if we can eliminate religiosity and exactly what you're saying now, all the lies, all the toxic messages that's been forced down our lungs right from childhood through our formative years, this is what a lot of people start to deal with in their adult lives. When you amalgamate your feelings with someone else in the name of marriage, you're settling down, bringing kids into existence and stuff like that. You're absolutely correct, my brother. It's because you're a product of your environment. It's absolutely exactly what it's the core of the problem. It is. So you're bang on the money here. I said it earlier, but I like the way you've put it. Actually, the ladies tend to be fanning themselves about your voice. Do you work on the radio? I
have gotten some radio experience and also voiceover experiences as well. But I refuse to steal the show here because you're doing very well with your show. Let's keep it with you here. Happy birthday for tomorrow. Okay. And I wish you the very best. Okay.
Thank you
so much, Phrankleen. Yeah.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right. All righty.
Fantastic session. If it's getting a bit hot where you are because of that brother's God-given baritone, man, House of Coffee, control. Take your baby and blow yourself, man. Right, that's me done. It's a wrap, man. It's a fantastic session. I will have a birthday live stream tomorrow. Maybe, let's see, around about 2-3 o'clock UK time. I'll have one tomorrow for about under an hour. We just have a chit chat. Come online. Thank you for the super chat. Common Sense Sisters, thank you for late coming today. And thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the wonderful contributions. It's been a fantastic session. I appreciate you. And yeah, man, it's been a pleasure. Please don't forget to share the content. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. It's your boy, Phrankleen. And I will catch you tomorrow when I'm a year older. All right? Peace and love, man. Bye-bye.